Haribo, hello everyone. This is my little abode here where I do writing in my library and reading, and it's my room that I sleep into. It's my all-purpose room, I guess you could say. So I thought that if this video blog is going to document my cancer journey, I should at least get us up to speed on the video about how I've come to the point that I am now. And I don't want to get too much on the case of modern medicine. There's a lot of good things about it, but there's a lot of detriments too, especially in terms of prevention, understanding of diet, so many things that are a problem really for our health, and relying on patent medicines instead of alternatives, which can be better, because a lot of times the patent medicines, they just take a natural cure and they just change a molecule so they can patent it. So cannot not talk about that, but that's a side issue in this blog. We just want to talk about my journey. So I have a primary care physician. I'm 65 now. I have Medicare, whoopee. It has paid a lot for the test, so I'm grateful for that, although no alternative treatments, of course. So anyway, I went there, and it's a nice man. He's a physician's assistant. Never met the primary doctor, and he's a nice person. I like him, but he's not what you would call the epitome of health. To be telling me about my health, he's way overweight and he doesn't look well. But that aside, the real issue is that every time I go there, he wants to prescribe a antibiotic. I've been there 3 times, and each time that's been his solution. So I wasn't surprised that when I went there and I said, this is swollen, he kind of spent a few minutes looking at it and said, it's probably just an infection, just take an antibiotic. So I said, well, do you think I could see a specialist? And he said, no harm. So I got a ultrasound. It didn't show anything. Then I went to a nose, ear, and throat doctor. So I remember that. And he looked at it, poked around, and thought he should do a biopsy. So I'm not a big fan of them, but I thought in this case I would have a biopsy. So he took some fluid out, and he took some liquid to look at it. So in 3 or 4 days, I got a call that it was cancerous, and then he wanted me to come in again. So the next week I came in, and he said that it was squamous cell carcinoma, which means it's a secondary tumor. It usually originates in the neck somewhere. So another test. Went for a CT scan next week, and didn't show anything. So then I went into his office again the next week, and he stuck one of those cameras down my nose and was looking all around as far as he could see. He didn't see anything. They have a little television there. So then he recommended to the insurance company that I have a full body scan, a PET scan it's called. And that's the thing with the insurance company. It's so piecemeal because they want to save money, and they are the ultimate deciders of treatment. That's a whole other topic. But so anyway, maybe I was joking that I just love to fast, and I love to take nuclear sugar, which is what they give you for these tests, radioactive sugar, whatever. So anyway, I went for that test, and they're looking for metabolic activity, so they found an area in the nose. It's called, I wrote it down somewhere, the nasopharynx, which is kind of where the nose starts to go down towards the throat and the lungs. It's a little area, and so the next thing he wanted to do is another biopsy, and that's the point where I really stopped using conventional treatment. I already changed my diet. We were already researching other options besides chemo. The standard option is surgery. The three musketeers: surgery, chemo, and radiation. None of them are a very good option in my opinion. Some, perhaps for some cancers, but just the theory of it taking poison is not my idea of a real great idea. And there's so much evidence that it doesn't really get the primary cause of the cancer. And then we generally, or doctors, think that cancer is a lump or a bump, and that you have cancer because you're sick. Cancer is there, so that's why you're sick. But actually, you're sick, and that's why you get cancer. I mean, it's a systemic problem. So you have to correct that, and there's no protocol in modern medicine for diet, for cleansing the different organs or whatever. So that's kind of the route we're taking, and I'm still, it's 13th today of December. I'm going next month to a clinic in Mexico for it's a Hoxsey clinic, really, or the Biomedical Center, and they also do a B17 injection, which is from apricot seeds. I'm doing the apricot seeds now. I'm doing a lot, I'm doing a lot of juice. I'm exercising, I'm lying on the biomat. I've talked about some of these things, but that's kind of where I'm at now. Still kind of, maybe I'm past the overwhelmed stage now. Like in the last one, I was like, I think we basically have a protocol. I'll probably see the Ayurvedic doctor when I go out to California, and I'm planning to stop at the different enclaves of devotees and talk about what I'm going through and the idea of how illness or facing death can help us live our life more fully. So that's a benefit. I'm trying to do those things that I have been putting off or feel that I should be doing with my life, whatever amount of time I have. So it's been really good all around. People ask me how I am, and I feel fine. It's just adjusting to the diet and the protocols and how much of my day is spent just trying to take care of my body. So one of my friends said, thank you for that, because she spends, it seems like, her whole day just taking care of her body. She has ill health and a weak constitution, and that's her life. And if that happens to us, we just have to take that all in the mood of service. Try to take care of the body as best that we can, as service to Krishna, service to God. And at the same time, if we're not successful, it's not a failure. And we just move on to the next plane. But in the meantime, hopefully, I can make some spiritual progress and share my journey with others in the hope that when that time comes when they have to face something like that, they'll be better able to do it in a positive way, to see that it's ultimately meant for their highest good. And that's really, I know it's easy to say, but I really practice that as much as I can. My wife and I both. I got it from her, actually, because she's a very positive person, and she's a much better teacher than I about having to deal with illness in the body. Since I've had this diagnosis, she's been very sick two times, and I'm taking care of her, which is fine. And she goes, I'm supposed to be taking care of you. And I said, whatever, dear, this is just life, It doesn't go according to our plans, but it's, I'm having a lot of understanding of the points of the philosophy, and it's really great for writing. So, and great for going deeper in my spiritual life and in my relationships with all of you. I've had so many wonderful, loving exchanges with the devotees and my friends. It's overwhelming. It's wonderful. All the different reasons that we may attract an illness, psychological reasons, or we're not on our purpose. So Krishna's expert at getting us on track. He has all the tools at his disposal to get our attention. So he's definitely got my attention now. So thank you. Hare Krishna.